You're listening to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast with Wendy Johnson, episode number 58.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Everyday Podcast, where women come to be inspired and motivated to become the best version of themselves and elevate the quality of their everyday. Now, here's your host, certified life coach, Wendy Johnson.
Hello, beautiful friends. I hope you're having a great day. I am so happy to be with you. Today, I want to share some practical tips and inspiring stories to help you lead a more empowered and fulfilling life. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects us all at some point, self-doubt. We'll explore strategies to overcome doubt and build unwavering self-belief. If you haven't listened to the episode from last week, I highly recommend you do so. I'm continuing to talk about overcoming self-doubt, the challenges that we face, some inspiring stories, and then the strategies to move forward. So grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's get started. First, let's understand self-doubt. Self-doubt can be incredibly limiting, preventing us from pursuing our goals and living our best lives. But to overcome it, we first need to understand it. Self-doubt often stems from past experiences, negative self-talk, fear of failure, and societal pressures. It's essential to recognize these sources to tackle them effectively. Let's break down the common roots of self-doubt. I'm going to give you some key factors that contribute to the difficulty. And the first one is fear of failure. The fear of failing can be paralyzing. When you doubt your abilities, it's easy to focus on the potential for failure rather than the possibility for success. If you have a track record for failing in something, you're likely to have a lot of doubt. This fear can prevent you from taking risks and continuing to pursue your goals. Check in with yourself as I go through these challenges and recognize if there's any areas of your life where you're having doubt. This happens to all of us. And in order to grow, we have to fail and we have to learn from our failures. But it's when the failures begin to override our confidence. The second challenge is negative self-talk. When you constantly criticize yourself or doubt your abilities, it reinforces feelings of inadequacy. This internal dialogue can be difficult to change once it's been habitual. Once it becomes habitual, we have 60,000 thoughts in our head a day, and it's hard to recognize when we're talking to ourselves negatively. And we may have started doing this when we were very young and not even notice that we're doing it. Have you noticed that you're negatively thinking about something and that you can't do something? The third challenge is past experiences. When you've had previous failures or setbacks, this can significantly impact your self-belief. If you face criticism, rejection, or failure in the past, it can be hard to shake the feeling that you're not capable of succeeding. I have several stories of famous people who had been rejected, and they found a way to overcome their own self-doubt. And the fourth challenge is comparison to others. We're constantly comparing ourselves to others, whether we realize it or not. In the age of social media, it's easy to compare your journey to others. Seeing other people's successes can make you feel like you're not measuring up, even if your past and circumstances are entirely different. People post their wins and their successes on social media. They're often not talking about the failures and the bad days they've had up until then. It's important to recognize we're only seeing half the truth. The fifth challenge is lack of support. Having a supportive environment is crucial for building self-belief. Without encouragement from friends, family, or mentors, it's easy to doubt yourself. Conversely, a negative or critical environment can erode your confidence. A number of times I've had friends question what I'm doing and why I would pivot and do something else. Because you're so good at what you're doing now, why do you want to do something else? And I explained that it's part of my journey to continue to challenge myself and grow. The sixth challenge is unrealistic expectations. Setting unrealistic expectations can set you up for disappointment. When your goals are too high or too rigid, failing to meet them can lead to feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. A good example would be if you're making $50,000 and your goal is to make $1 million. That's an unrealistic expectation. You could 10x your number to 500,000, or you could just increase it to a lower number and build the momentum and know you can achieve making 50,000 more or 100,000. The seventh challenge is perfectionism. Perfectionism is the enemy of self-belief. When you strive for perfection, anything less can feel like a failure. This can lead to procrastination and avoidance, reinforcing the belief that you're not capable. And the eighth challenge is mental health issues. Conditions such as anxiety and depression can severely impact self-belief. These mental issues can distort your perception of your abilities and potential, making it harder to believe in yourself. I've just gone through the 8 reasons why we have difficulty in overcoming self-doubt. Sometimes hearing about others' journeys can be incredibly motivating. Here are a couple of inspiring stories about overcoming self-doubt. The first one is J.K. Rowling. Her challenge was rejection. J.K. Rowling faced numerous rejections from publishers before Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was finally accepted. She was a single mother living on welfare, struggling to make ends meet, and constantly doubting whether her dream of becoming a published author would ever come true. But her strategy is key. Rowling used perseverance and self-belief to overcome her doubts. She continued to write despite the rejections, focusing on her passion for storytelling. Rowling also surrounded herself with a supportive community that encouraged her to keep going. Her belief in her work eventually paid off, making her one of the most successful authors in history. And as I talk to you today, I'm looking at her series of books. They were my favorite books to read when my son was growing up. Another favorite story of mine is Michael Jordan. From being cut on the high school basketball team to becoming a basketball legend. Michael Jordan was cut from the team, which is hard to believe. This was a significant blow to his confidence and self-belief. This rejection made him question his talent and potential to succeed in the sport he loved. And the strategy, Jordan used the setback as motivation to work harder and improve his skills. He practiced tirelessly, turning his self-doubt into a driving force for excellence. Jordan's determination and relentless work eventually led him to become one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He famously said, "I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." I have another story of one of my favorite people, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey faced a traumatic and challenging childhood, including poverty and abuse. As she pursued her career in media, she encountered numerous setbacks and criticisms that made her doubt her abilities and potential. Oprah's strategy was her focus on self-improvement and positive affirmations to build her self-belief. She embraced her authentic self, sharing her personal stories and vulnerabilities with her audience. By doing so, she connected deeply with people and built a supportive network. Oprah's resilience and authenticity helped her become one of the most influential media figures in the world. And the last story I want to share with you is of another African American, Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou experienced a traumatic childhood that led her to stop speaking for several years. This period of silence was marked by intense self-doubt and tremendous fear. Angelou's strategy was she found her voice through reading and writing. She channeled her emotions and experiences into poetry and literature, which helped her reclaim her self-worth and belief. By embracing her unique perspective and sharing her stories with the world, she became a celebrated writer and civil rights activist, inspiring millions with her words and resilience. There are so many quotes I love by Maya Angelou, and I would like to share a few with you now. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Another one is, we may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. It may even be necessary to encounter the defeat so that we know who we are. And this is a famous quote you may have heard as well. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. These stories highlight the importance of perseverance, self-compassion, supportive networks, and learning from failures in overcoming self-doubt. Each individual's unique journey illustrates that belief in oneself is not just about confidence, but also about the strategies and mindsets one adopts to face certain challenges. So now I want to dive into some strategies to help you overcome self-doubt and build self-belief. The first one is to practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to your best friend. Acknowledge your efforts and forgive your mistakes. You ever tell yourself that you've done something stupid or you're stupid, you are not being self-compassionate with yourself. We all make mistakes, and it's important to recognize and be compassionate with ourselves when we do, and to forgive ourselves. The second challenge is negative thoughts. Actively identify and challenge your negative thoughts. Replace them with positive affirmations. Recognize your wins every week. The third challenge is to set achievable goals. What you want to do is break your larger goals into smaller, manageable steps. The only thing you're concerned about is that next step. You don't have to worry about the end right now. If you feel like you cannot accomplish something and you hear yourself saying, I can't do it, tell yourself you can do the next step. You don't have to look at the bigger picture because that can be overwhelming. And the fourth strategy is to build a supportive network. Surround yourself with people who uplift and encourage you. Seek out mentors and join communities that align with your values and goals. And the fifth strategy is to reflect on your progress. Regularly take time to reflect on your achievements and growth. This can help you see how far you've come and reinforce your belief in your capabilities. Check in with yourself at the end of the day. Check in with yourself at the end of the week. Have a monthly check-in and then have a yearly check-in. And if you're not doing that, this is where I highly recommend you have a mentor or coach, because that's what we do together. And the sixth strategy is to limit comparison. Stop the comparison despair. Focus on your own journey and progress. Remember that everyone has their own unique path, and comparing yourself to others is often unproductive. And the seventh strategy is to seek professional help. If self-doubt is significantly impacting your life, consider seeking help from a therapist or counselor. They can provide strategies and support to help you build self-belief. This is important to do if you have past traumas or abuse that you have not healed. Then seek professional help. And know this, believing in yourself is a continuous process that requires effort and practice every day. And by addressing these challenges and implementing these strategies based on the challenge you're having, you can gradually build a stronger sense of confidence and self-belief. Adopting a growth mindset is crucial. Believing that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. We see people out there who are so talented, but we don't know what they've done behind closed doors and how hard they've worked to become who they are today. Remember, building self-belief is a continuous journey, and that requires patience. You're not in a hurry. I hope you enjoyed this continuation of the episode from last week. Thank you for joining me. I hope these strategies help you overcome self-doubt and build a stronger sense of self-belief. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Share this podcast with anyone who might benefit from it. And remember, you are capable of achieving great things. Believe in yourself, keep moving forward, and embrace your potential. Until next time, stay empowered, friends. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self. Hey, if you enjoy listening to this podcast, you have to come check out More You, my community of like-minded women. We show up to create the highest version of ourselves and elevate the quality of our everyday along the way. Head over to ontraclifecoaching.com/join. That's ontraclifecoaching.com/join. I'd love to see you in there. And if you haven't grabbed your copy of the Mindset Makeover, head over to ontracklifecoaching.com/makeover and get a copy that teaches and inspires you to show up as your most extraordinary self.